Hi, my name is Tom. I'm 61 years old, and I think I may be suffering from ADD or ADHD, whichever you prefer to call it. I'm not so sure about the hyperactive part, but I'm really wondering about the ADD part. And I recently came to this realization as I just started a new job, and I was called by my supervisor on the phone I have to carry around at the job, and the person wanted me to carry out an instruction, an explicit instruction. And while I heard most of the conversation over the phone, I did not hear her say the key part that I needed to know. I do have some hearing issues, I will say that, but that I don't think that comes into play because I heard every bit of the conversation except for the part that she really needed me to hear. And I attribute this is to not paying attention. And I've had issues in the past not paying attention. My wife continually kids me about me not paying attention to her, and I've heard many wives say this about their husbands. But I'm to the point, and I always have been, to where I have the ability, or I'm not sure if it's an intentional ability to block out everything. For example, I can be looking at something on my iPad or whatever, and I won't hear the TV. I won't hear my wife speaking. I don't know what the dogs are doing. I'm totally hyper-focused on what I'm doing. And I've had this problem, well, this last instance, it caused me to look back, and I don't know why, but it caused me to look back over some things that have happened in my whole life. I had the classic symptoms. I started reading on the internet, and it was like, well, first off, is like I was wondering why, and I've had this problem before. Why can't I pay attention? And a lot of people will say, well, just try harder. But, you can't, I guess you can try to pay attention better, but if you have to make a mental note to pay attention to your surroundings and who's saying what, and to me, that's almost impossible to do. I don't see how you can make a mental note to pay attention. And I've always had this problem. In this last instance, just brought it to light, and I've started looking back. For example, I had a job this year. This is, I don't know if I said the date or not, but this is July 8th, 2016. And I got a new job, not the one I just mentioned, one previous to this. And I was there for 5 months. I'm a graphic designer and advertising artist by profession, and I worked for this company in Sarasota through May. I eventually gave them notice and left. And part of this was some internal politics, and another reason was the stress level I was under, because as I've gotten older, I'm 61 now, as I've gotten older, this problem seems to be magnifying itself. It became more difficult to pay attention. And I've always had a problem what it started out with, but this was very important that I pay attention in this particular job. So, and the more I got called out on not paying attention and missing details, the more stressed out I got. It got to the point where I was a nervous wreck. Between this and some other things, I thought I was going to freak out. That's how bad the stress got. So I eventually, in May, I gave them 2 weeks notice and I left. The stress was unbelievable. Whether it was stress due to the internal politics at the place and the stress of me not being able to focus and pay attention on what I was supposed to, was just, the stress level was unreal. Furthermore, I have always had a problem with attention to details. I'm always making stupid mistakes. Now, I graduated college. I graduated at the top of my class, an honor student. I don't even know how I did that. School was extremely challenging. Looking back on that, I'm not even sure how I got through that, but I did. And but the attention to details, that has been a problem for as long as I can remember. When I was in elementary school all the way through high school, I have at least 2 report cards that say, little notations written out by the teacher: Tom does not pay attention. He does not pay attention to details. He could be such a better student if he just applied himself. And this was the story throughout my whole education through high school. I always did poorly in school. I never really got great grades. And I remember being in school and sitting in class, and it's just like, please God, when is this going to be over? I don't think I was hyperactive, but I could not, I just could not stand to listen to somebody for, an hour at a time. And my mind would start wandering. I'd be off in outer space. And my parents got several reports from teachers about me being out there. And another one of the classic, I guess, symptoms of this ADD is substance abuse, which I'm not currently involved in now, but in my past I have had problems with substance abuse. I did drugs all the time when I was a younger person. I smoked pot daily, and plus all kinds of other drugs. I did this often. And I don't know how that ties in with ADD exactly. I think I read something how it ties in, but I don't know all the details about that. So my hyper-focus issues, which I heard is another symptom of this. For example, hobbies. I can't even tell you how many hobbies I've had that I've started, mastered, and then dropped like a bad habit. I just can't tell you how many. The latest was, I got this desire. I saw something on the internet about how much fun it was to write with a fountain pen. Now, this is a perfect example of how my mind works. And I saw this person, I think it was a YouTube video, they were using a fountain pen, they had beautiful handwriting, and it was like, wow, that would be interesting to get into that. And so I started buying fountain pens. I started working on calligraphy. I got pretty dang good at it, and it was just a matter of months. I lost total interest in it. I have no interest to do it now. All the fountain pens that I collected, which I spent a bunch of money on, are sitting right over here. I haven't touched them in weeks, and I really don't care if I do or not. I could care less, couldn't care less. And that's just an example. Drawing was another thing that I got fairly good at, and after I did, I dropped it. Building scale models, I got to the point where I had won several contests building model airplanes, and these contests were these were contests that actual people that have been doing it all their lives had entered, and I just in short time mastered it, built some really great model airplanes, put them in contest, won, and that wasn't it wasn't no time at all. Once again, I lost total interest, and I have no desire to do that ever again. And that's just a couple of examples. My life is filled with hobbies that I've learned, researched, I'm not going to say mastered, but became very good at, and then just dropped. However, there is one consistent thing in my life that has been consistent throughout my whole life, and that is guitar. I play guitar. I've played in numerous bands, and I started playing when I was like 13 or 14. And really, guitar is the only thing that's been consistent in my entire life, throughout my whole life. And I still play to this day. But again, the ability to focus on something like that and then just drop it like a bad habit, I've always felt like there was something wrong with that. And this not paying attention is the part that's really bothering me now. And like I said, it seems to have magnified itself the older I've gotten. I just don't feel right. I feel like when somebody's talking to me, if I'm not staring and 100% focused on them, and that I have to make an effort to do that, I'm going to miss something important. And it's happened time and time again. And I'll get part of the conversation, but it's like part of it's missing. It's like I get distracted or something, and I know it's not my hearing. And I've even had a person tell me that they told me something that I didn't get, and they came back later and said, I just told you that, and I think you heard me. And it's like, so it just seems to be getting a little bit worse. So it finally dawned on me that I could have a problem, and it took me this long to even put two and two together. So what I've done is I've made an appointment with I wanted to continue. I almost forgot. I wanted to go into a little more detail about the lack of attention to details. I was a very good graphic designer. Well, I still am, and I can't even tell you how many times I've gotten almost through an entire project and presented it to whoever it was, and they would say something like, "This looks awesome, but like, what is that line going across the bottom?" And what is this over in the corner? And it was something that, in the process of doing the project, I don't know if I got distracted or what, but it's finishing projects correctly. That seems to be another thing that's gotten a little bit worse over time. But I took a Myers-Briggs test back in the 90s, oddly enough, and the result of the Myers-Briggs test, which I don't know how accurate those are, but this is just a coincidental little factoid. And that the result of that test was that part of it was that I lacked attention to details. This was back in the early 90s. And even then, I was a budget analyst for a while, and I was continually making mistakes. But they were just dumb mistakes. It wasn't like I didn't know how to do it. It was I would make goofy little mistakes, and it was like I was continually doing that. I do that a lot in my graphic design work. I'll have the thing all done, and there'll be something amiss, and I send it off as a completed product, and it comes back, and it's like, what is this? You know, what is this little thing here? And so my whole life has been filled up with dumb mistakes. I mean, most of them, 99%, you know, I've laughed off and ha ha ha, you know, oh, I must have missed that. Give me a second and I'll redo it. And most people are okay with it. You know, it's like, oh, okay, I understand. Everybody makes mistakes, but I make lots of mistakes. And some people are not so forgiving. Most people are, a lot of people aren't. It's like, you should have caught that. What in the hell are you thinking? You know, and it's like, I got that a lot in the job that I just quit. Now, the job I have now is basically, since I'm semi-retired, it doesn't take a lot of brain power. I mean, it's just a part-time job that I'm just doing, but it really requires no, you know, mental exertion, if you will. It's pretty, I don't want to say brain dead, but it's a lot less stressful. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of afraid to even, in the state that I'm in right now, I'm kind of afraid to even, you know, look into doing freelance graphic design, because I'm afraid I'm going to screw it up with stupid mistakes that just seem to be getting worse. And when in reading an ADD, that if you have it as a kid, it's not going away. But I didn't see anywhere where it says that it gets a little bit worse over time, although maybe I did. I can't really remember. But I don't think it's like a dementia or a Alzheimer's issue. It's like my memory isn't the issue. I remember everything, so it's not like my memory is degraded. It's the magnification of the dumb things that I've done my whole life, or they seem dumb, but you know, I guess they're not. If you have something like ADD, attention deficit disorder, if I haven't said that, I can't remember right now, but I think I said that at the beginning. But they're not. They're just careless mistakes, and I've done this. Like I said, I always did poorly in grade school. But anyway, so what I've done is I've taken the bull by the horns, and I called my family doctor, and I have an appointment on Monday at 3:45, and I told him that I need a referral because I want to be screened or tested, whichever you want to call it, for attention deficit disorder. Now, he will probably refer me to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, I don't know. But from the reading I've done, with the therapy they can do combined with medication, that this is the success rate of overcoming this and having a normal life, the success rate is very good. And, you know, I'm 61, but I think it would be great to feel how it would be to be normal. And I don't know, I guess I don't know what that feels like, because I've always been like this, and it's just now hitting me that I may have a problem that I need to look into. But it would be great to know how normal people feel that don't do the kinds of stuff that I do. You know, that can pay attention when somebody's talking. I find myself sometimes when somebody's talking, I will have thoughts going on in my head. Sometimes I butt in and over talk them. I don't think I do that a lot, but I have caught myself doing that. And even on occasion, I've been in a conversation with someone, and I've asked them something that I asked them previous or earlier in the conversation, and they just poo-poo it off and repeat it. But I've actually caught myself doing that a few times, and it's just like, man, this I'm not paying attention. There's something wrong here. So, um, so Monday I'm going to go and to my doctor, and I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to lay the whole thing out for him. He's a very good doctor. I've been going to him for years, but I think that I've had this my whole life, and I just didn't get it until now. So, but I'm going to look into it now. I've done a lot of research, days and days worth of research on YouTube from other people that have this, and I'm going to see how it goes. So on Monday, when I get back from the doctor, I'm going to make another video, let you know what happened, and then if I'm referred to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, whatever, I'm going to do another video at that point. And then if that all pans out and I'm put on some kind of medication or something, then I'm going to video the results of that, how I'm feeling, so I'm hoping it turns out well. But this isn't the way I want to be for the rest of my life. I want to be able to focus like a normal person and not hyper focus, to exclude everything else around me. I think it would just be great, and the ability to actually pay attention to what someone's saying without trying to be a step ahead of them and think ahead and miss parts of the conversation. I'm hoping this will help that. So anyway, I will. I'll be in touch. Alrighty, it's me again. I just wanted to let you know that I went to my doctor's appointment yesterday, and I'm glad to say that my doctor agreed with my self-diagnosis of having ADD 100%. I went in there yesterday, which was July 11th, and my appointment was at 3:15, and I went in there with my facts and all the results of the research that I had done on ADD. I took my wife with me just where I wouldn't forget or miss any of the important details of the stuff I found out. And he asked me a whole battery of questions, and he didn't ask me a lot of questions because I went in there and laid basically the facts out, and luckily, being a general practitioner, he knew something about it already. And I thought I was going to have to go to, I thought he was just going to refer me to either a psychologist or a psychiatrist, but as luck would have it, he knew something about ADD to start out with himself. So I've been going to this doctor for years. I have great respect for him, but I was surprised that he knew that he was tuned into this thing like 100%. So I've been. His conclusion was that I need to be put on a medication, and he recommended Adderall, and he prescribed me 30 of them. They're 20 milligram capsules. I don't have the bottle right here, but I think they're Adderall XR or XL or something like that. But they're 20 milligram capsules, and I just took my first one. Oh, by the way, today is July 12th. I went to the doctor yesterday, which was the 11th. Today's the 12th, and it's about 9 a.m. I took my first capsule at about an hour or so ago, maybe a little over an hour. I don't know if I feel anything at this point. I feel wide awake, that's for sure. But I don't know if that's just because I had a great night's sleep or what. But I do feel pretty wide awake and energetic this morning. So I am going to try this. My wife is concerned because this Adderall is a class 2 drug. It's a pretty highly controlled substance. It's used, and I haven't done a lot of reading about Adderall yet. I'm going to, so I don't know everything about it, but I understand that it's used recreationally. I've never used it recreationally, but I understand that a lot of school kids, college people, use it as a study aid, I guess, to keep them awake and keep them focused. I don't know, that I could see where that's probably true, but for my use, it's not going to be recreational. This is solely to get my mind back on track, and I think it's been off for quite a while. I feel like it's been off, and this year has been particularly weird. There's just been a lot of bad things, and I just can't focus on anything, just about. So anyway, I have a 30-day supply of these Adderalls. I'm gonna take one every morning as instructed and see how I do. And if this thing, if they don't work, he has a couple of other ideas, a couple of other medications. He didn't say what they were, but there are a couple of other medications that you can take for ADD that are quite successful, or so I understand. But I'm gonna take these for 30 days and see how I do. And what I will do is I'm going to report back in with a video, like maybe every few days or so, to let you know how I'm feeling. That way, if you're diagnosed with this and you have to take Adderall, maybe this will help you as far as what to expect as far as taking this drug goes. It's an amphetamine, but it has, and again, I don't know everything about it, but it is supposed to help you focus, be more aware, and as far as paying attention, it's supposed to really help in that respect. And that's one of my biggest problems right now that I'm having, is paying attention to what in other words, I have, like, my situational awareness is like crap. So I'm hoping this will, make me more aware of what's going on around me. But anyway, I'm going to check in probably, I'm going to give it like a few days. I will make another video at that point and let you know how I'm feeling. Other than that, I'm hopeful this works out for me, and I can feel at least halfway normal. So we'll see. I'll be in touch. Today is Monday, July 18th. And I would like to report in after my first week of using Adderall, which I started last Tuesday. I'm on the 20 milligram XR, extended release, and I'm happy to report that all is going well. I take one capsule first thing in the morning. I feel great. I don't really experience any euphoria like I've heard, so I don't know. I read that if you don't have ADD and you're taking medication for it, you will experience like this euphoric state after you take them. I don't experience that. I feel like I'm very aware I'm able to pay attention a lot better. The one thing I did find, though, is if you're expecting Adderall to motivate you to do things, I haven't found that to be the case. I don't really feel any more motivated to do anything. However, if I do something, I'm able to focus on it a lot longer. For example, my guitar practicing, I'll just use that. Before, I would come in here and have like a 15-minute practice session, and I was over and done with it. Like I couldn't even sit here for like 10 or 15 minutes and remain interested or focused. Now, when I'm taking Adderall, I still have to make an effort to come in here and play, but I feel like I can come in here. Like the other morning, I played for like two plus hours, probably a little over 2 hours, and I can't remember the last time I've been able to focus and practice for that long. That in itself is a motivator because you learn a lot more. So now I feel like I'm more motivated to come in and play more often. And there's just other things too. I did a little bit of design work. I can actually focus on that and sit there for a while and do it. I had these, previous to taking this Adderall, I used to have these crazy mood swings, and I would wake up in the morning sometimes, and I wouldn't call it depression, but I was in such a bad mood. It was like a suffocating bad mood. I haven't had that since I started taking this. My moods have been better, and I haven't had any of the oppressive bad mood swings that I had before. And I used to have those probably at least a couple of times a week at the very least, and sometimes more. But it would usually happen first thing in the morning, and I could tell as soon as I was taking my morning shower whether or not I was in a good mood or a bad mood, and usually the bad moods were very bad. So I haven't noticed, I haven't been in any bad mood since then. I think I'm less, anyway, well, I lost my train of thought, but anyway, I forgot to mention in my last video, when I went to the doctor's office, they also tested me for, and I don't think I mentioned this, but they tested me for Alzheimer's and dementia. And I was concerned about dementia because that's what my mother had, and I hear that you can inherit that. So they gave me it was like, I think it was 30 questions. And the whole thing was that, they wanted you to count backwards from 100 by sevens and things like that. So anyway, I got, if it was 30 questions, I think I got like 29 correct. But I know there was one I didn't get right, and that was the one where you count backwards from 7. And to me, that's difficult in its own right. So, but the rest of them I got right, so it ruled out dementia or Alzheimer's, which I forgot to mention. And I was really happy to hear that. Okay, now for the bad news. Hold on one second. Now for the bad news is the Adderall XR does not last as long as I would like it to. I was instructed by the doctor to take it first thing in the morning when I get up, and I do that, and I find that by around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I can feel it wearing off. and it's really uncomfortable because it's a pretty sudden drop off, and it's very noticeable. And it's not like when I take the Adderall, a lot of people feel like they're speeding, and I've taken speed before, and it doesn't feel like that to me. It doesn't really make me buzz like all over the house and do everything, and like speed does. But you can definitely, I guess when your senses are heightened, like, your attention and your ability to focus on things, when that drops off, I can really feel it. And so I'm going to contact my doctor today by way of their patient portal and ask if I can have a dosage adjustment. Now, the 20 milligrams seems to work great for the first part of the day, but I've read in numerous forums that some people have to have well, let me back up. I'm taking the extended release capsule. There's people that are also prescribed a supplemental, like 20 milligram instant release tablet that they can take after 3 or 4 or whenever theirs wears off, and it varies from person to person. I find that I usually take my capsule at 7 a.m. or thereabouts, and I can feel it wearing off around 3 or 4. So that's my duration of effectiveness. And if you've done any homework, you'll know what DOE is. That's how long it takes the drug to, I guess, be absorbed and dispensed by your system. So mine is about that long. Unfortunately for me, I have a part-time job, and 3 or 4 nights a week, I don't even go into work until 4 p.m., which is right when this stuff is wearing off. And it's like, so I go to work kind of blawed out, and it's like, it's really not a good setup. I mean, I feel great for the first part of the day, but when I've got to go to work, I feel like, I'm not going to say I feel like crap, but I feel tired and just not on the ball. And I also found out that towards evening time, I'll get kind of like a second wind, but it's not until, like 8 or 9 o'clock, and it's not as intense, but I'll start to feel like I wake up a little bit. So I'm going to communicate with my doctor today and see if he can adjust the dosage, and I'll go along with it, whatever he recommends. But from what I've read, a lot of people need a second dose in the later part of the day. I'd thought about taking my XR capsule later on in the day to where I wouldn't have this letdown while I'm going to work, but then the extended release, if you take it too late in the day, you won't be able to sleep. So it's kind of like I can't just not take it later, so I'm going to have to get it adjusted. But all in all, the first week has been, I think, pretty successful. I feel much better. My situational awareness is probably increased by 50 to 75%. I seem to be focused on what people are saying more, listening to what they're saying before I butt in because I'm not listening. So my ability to pay attention, I think, has gotten a lot better. So what I'll do is I'm going to contact my doctor, like I've repeated now 3 times, and see if they can adjust the dosage to make up for this afternoon deficit that I have, and we'll see how that turns out. But I can't take anything time release because I still have to go to sleep at the regular time. And from what I understand, the instant release Adderall, which is normally known as IR, or instant release, or immediate release, I think is what. You take that, it's like, I think, a tablet, and you take that and it like hits your system immediately. It balances you out and carries you through another 3 to 4 hours, or 5 depending, and which is what I need. But this going to work after the Adderall is worn off is that's not good. So I'm going to try to get that fixed. So today's my first week. I will check in a few more times and let you know how it's going. But all in all, I would say I feel like I'm on the road to recovery. I haven't had any side effects. The one thing I will mention, though, is there is a potential here for losing a lot of weight, which I don't want to do. I don't want to lose any weight. But luckily for me, the Adderall has not affected my appetite at all. And they say if the dosage is too high and you're repulsed by food, then it's the dosage is not right. So, but my appetite is still good. I still eat the same things I always did. So, and that's good for me. I don't want to lose any weight. But that is a drawback for some people. Maybe for some other people it's great. You know, if you can lose weight, fantastic. So, but I will check in at least a couple of more times. If I get this dose adjusted, I'll let you know how that feels. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy at this point, and I will keep you posted. Alrighty then. Today is July 27th, and I've been taking my adjusted dose of Adderall since July 19th, which is like 9 days or so, something like, so as I explained last time, the 20 milligram capsule was not getting me all the way through the day. It started wearing off early in the day, and some days I have to go to work at 4 p.m., which is not a good time for it to wear off. My doctor prescribed another 10 milligram tablet that is immediate release, and it's not the time release deal like the one I take in the morning. So around 4 in the afternoon, I'm taking the 10 milligram tablet, which I think lasts for, I'm going to say maybe 3 or 4 hours, and it starts wearing, but then it starts wearing off. But then it's about time for bed, so it's not a problem. And I think it's going to work out. So I can avoid that. The kind of like letdown in the afternoon, because I feel it a lot, and I've read a lot of things online to where it affects other people differently. Some people don't feel it as much, but I could really feel it, and this is kind of like a little thing that gets me through. So this is probably going to be my last video on this, unless something happens, and I will make an update. But the Adderall seems to be working well. Again, I feel way more alert, more aware of my surroundings, and the two things I do note is when I had numerous things going on at the same time, like, say, for example, several people talking to me at the same time, or a group of people, it was just like information overload. I didn't know who to listen to and who not to listen to, and invariably I would listen to the wrong information or whatever. I find myself now that I don't get rattled as much, because I would get kind of like freaked out when things like that would happen. And so I find myself not getting rattled as bad. And as far as my mood swings go, I haven't woke up in one of those suffocating bad moods yet. since I've been taking the treatment or the medication for this. Again, as I said previously, I would wake up sometimes in these bad moods that were just indescribable. It's like but they would wear off, but I haven't had one since I've been on the medication. So whether it's coincidental or not, I don't know, but I'm just saying. So it seems to be helping out in that regard. Again, I feel much more aware. I'm not going to say that I feel energized, well, maybe, but I don't feel like I'm speeding or anything. I just feel more aware and able to concentrate and focus more on things that I need to. I have found, though, that I still have a tendency to like I said, if there's numerous things going on, it's like sometimes I still can't really focus on the important thing, but I don't get freaked out when it happens. It's another, I just take it, and it is what it is, but it does feel a lot better. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to, and then from my previous job, I did want to mention this. I do have a feeling sometimes it's like, I don't want to call it, like, maybe it is like a little bit of paranoia because of the way things were going before I started treatment. I was always making mistakes and mishearing people, probably because I wasn't paying attention. Now I have it in my mind that that people might be focused on that. I don't know why. And I started reading this stuff on Adderall, how it makes you feel paranoid sometimes. And I don't know if that's what the deal is on that or not. I think that'll wear off in time because I'm just self-conscious is what it is. I don't want to call myself paranoid, but I'm self-conscious because I don't want to make mistakes. And I don't want to mishear people, and sometimes I think about it too much, and I think that'll wear off. And I did have I just thought of something else. There are a couple of side effects here that I've experienced with this Adderall. One is a urinary issue, and I started reading about that. Sometimes it makes it difficult to pee. Now I don't know why that is, and I started reading up on it, and I was having that problem, and a lot of people had said online that they found that that's a pretty common side effect, and but it will wear off, and I find that it is. So I don't know, I was really bothered with it when I first started taking Adderall. It was like I had to pee like all the time, and so that's wearing off, and I think I'm pretty much back to normal. The only other side effect I've had is dry mouth, and wow, like sometimes it's like really bad. For example, the day before yesterday, it's like I had to chew gum like all day long just to keep moisture in my mouth. But then yesterday it wasn't as bad, and I didn't even really notice it. So that kind of comes and goes, and I don't know if that'll go away for good after a while or not. I'm not really sure, but anyway, that was the only two side effects. But if you read up on Adderall, you'll see that people experience all kinds of different side effects on Adderall. So luckily I only had those two, and they seem to be straightening out. So again, I hope that you've found this helpful in some way. I know that it's been kind of a weird little journey, but so what I will do is if there's anything else to note, I'll make another video and maybe post that on YouTube or something, and hopefully this will help out people who have ADD, and they'll find this of some value. So other than that, I think I'm doing better. And anyway, I wish you the best of luck. Hi, it's me again. I just made the final installment of this video that I was doing and I felt I needed to immediately add a little supplemental video at the end as far as side effects go. I totally forgot about this in the previous video, but one of the side effects that is weight loss. Now, if you're overweight and you're taking Adderall, you're going to experience some weight loss, and it may be a good thing for you. However, I'm at my pretty much ideal weight, and because Adderall speeds up your first off, it hasn't affected my appetite at all, not even a little bit. The problem is, from what I've read, is anytime you're taking an amphetamine, it speeds up your metabolism, so you're burning calories like at 2 or 3 times the rate you normally would. I found this to be true because I started dropping off weight immediately, and so what I did to counteract that was I went down and bought some Boost. It's like a chocolate drink, and it has like 360 calories a bottle, and some Cliff Bars that have like 260 calories per bar. So what I did was, instead of weighing myself every week, once a week, I'm weighing myself every day just to see where I am and what I should be eating for that day. For example, yesterday I just ate normally because I was up a few pounds or a couple of pounds. This morning I got on the scale and I was down a few pounds. So today I'm going to be drinking my Boost drink and my Cliff Bar. I'll probably have that a couple of times, and that usually puts my weight back up. But I did want to mention that you will experience some weight loss probably. And as I said, it may be good for you, maybe not, but I did want to add this. Again, good luck to you. Thanks.